Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 585. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please let's go to the headlines.
America's most watched newscast now streaks day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news, President Trump lashing out at Pope Leo, and tonight the image the president posted, appearing to depict Trump as Jesus. The image drawing outrage from many of his own supporters, some calling it blasphemy. President Trump tonight says he did post it, and what the president says he sees in that image. Just a well-known Democrat Congressman Eric Swalwell near the top of the race for California governor, pulling out of the race, and just moments ago revealing he is now resigning from Congress. Multiple women accusing him of sexual misconduct, and what he's now saying tonight. Also breaking tonight, the war in Iran, the peace talks failing. Tonight, President Trump ordering a naval blockade of Iranian ports. That blockade tonight. President Trump's new warning, and Iran's warning tonight about what could happen to gas prices in the U.S., and what the president said about these high gas prices, that they could last through the midterm elections. The new and disturbing turn tonight involving the 18-year-old high school senior and cheerleader found dead on a cruise ship. Tonight, her 16-year-old stepbrother charged with murder, charged as an adult, what we've now learned. Tonight, for the first time, we hear from the husband of that missing wife and mother, who he says fell. Tonight, in his own words, you'll hear the phone as now is President AI CEO Sam Altman, one suspect accused of throwing a Molotov cocktail at the home. Now comes word someone shot toward the home. Tonight, news of more arrests. Tonight, the tour is set for trying to avoid cars. The message to his parents, or even what he said to mom and dad, who were unable to first win. If you watching live here on the astronaut homes now happened since, including astronaut Christina Cook and one very excited dog. From his world headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir. Good evening, we begin tonight here with the breaking news. President Trump laughs.
In this Monday decision to brief federal Washington that give the U.S. President's new attempt on armor right to allow access to the Strait of Hormuz and Brown's Donald insults the Pope and appears to compare himself to Jesus.
Gross. It's last minute as usual.
Plus, big stars against a big deal.
This is a letter really from the lifeblood of the film industry.
Their mission to stop the Paramount Warner Brothers mega merger.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Almost a year after the last federal election, voters could deliver a majority to the Liberal government minister Mark Carney.
Nice to meet you. I just really want that for you, Mr. President.
That's very nice. Look at this. This doesn't look staged, it doesn't. Special delivery at the White House. Some of the Big Macs with a side of blockade. President Trump promoting no tax on tips, flagged by an Arkansas grandma who pocketed $11,000 in tax-free tips last year. And while the president gets some delivery to the Oval, he's delivering some economic pain to Iran. We're 7 hours into Trump's naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz after JD's peace talks in Pakistan this weekend stalled. The president keeping the door dasher by his side as he took questions from the press.
They'd like to make a deal very badly. They will never have a nuclear weapon. We're going to get the dust back. We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. We have a blockade. They're doing no business. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't know, but you do.
No, I'm here about no tax on tips.
Yeah.
Are the White House good tippers, do you know?
Wait.
Potentially. Yes, very.
Meanwhile, the Dems' failed 2016 ticket, Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine, still whining about Trump ripping up Obama's terrible Iran nuke deal.
When we did the original talks, we had the P5+1, the original members of the Security Council plus Germany, but it was a real negotiation. So I worry that the United States is now in a very weak position vis-a-vis Iran.
I think that decision by President Trump to tear up a diplomatic deal will go down in history as one of the worst decisions in the foreign policy space ever made by an American president. If you make diplomacy impossible, you tend to make war inevitable.
This naval blockade, Dana, just getting started already pretty effective.
So I think that it shows that, one, J.D. Vance went and gave them a lot of time, and also he didn't drag it out. Okay, so you think about when you just hear Hillary Clinton's voice, I just remember covering that. Every week there was like another step in the negotiation, another step, and then the Iranians dragged the talks out forever. What I appreciated about this weekend is that, all right, I'll fly all the way over there, I will sit and I will listen, and I will give you our points, and we will draw some red lines, and you won't agree to them, so, okay, now we're going home. We're not going to sit here for weeks and do this over and over again. The other thing is, reportedly, I don't know this firsthand, but reportedly, J.D. Vance was not for this operation to begin with. Now he is gone. He's like, I tried, and now he can say, Mr. President, now we have to win this thing. Which choice? Because the Strait of Hormuz is so critical. The blockade, I don't know if it will work in the long term, but it's interesting about the economic pain that Iran could feel from this. I'm curious, though, how much economic pain the Iranian regime will be able to stand, because their people, the people of Iran, have very...
This is Sky News, the headlines. Donald Trump deleted himself as Jesus after being accused of blasphemy. This is Sky News, the headlines. Donald Trump deletes this image of himself as Jesus after being accused of blasphemy, but doubles down on his criticism of the Pope over the Iran war. And more trouble for Trump as the Prime Minister tells him the UK will not take part in America's new blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Also ahead, the litany of failure that led to the Southport attack. Numerous agencies and the killer's parents are criticised for failing to prevent the murders of 3 young girls. And Rory McIlroy tells us how he stayed mentally strong to clinch his back-to-back victory at the Masters.
Africa News. The news. 4 African countries are preparing to welcome Pope Leo XIV, who is set to visit Algeria, Angola, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea. The 70-year-old Pope will travel more than 17,700 kilometers on 18 flights over 11 days starting Monday, delivering speeches and homilies in French, Spanish, Portuguese, and English. To see His Holiness Pope Leo XIV arrive in Cameroon, for us who are Catholic Christians, it further strengthens our faith. It further strengthens our ties with our God. It is a perfect moment to touch each other's hearts. You see, Cameroon is a country that is dealing with the Anglophone crisis, and the arrival of the Pope will further reconcile both parties. Equatorial Guinea, where nearly 75% of the population is Catholic, will welcome the Pope from April 21st to 23rd. The last papal visit there was in 1982. This event also marks for us a point of social responsibility, spiritual responsibility, and we are preparing thoroughly to receive the Pope. In the Angolan capital of Luanda, one church youth leader said young people are anxious to see the Pope, and saying he usually requires traveling abroad. I am the coordinator of the youth ministry, so young people are anxious to see the Pope because we don't always get to see the Pope that easily, and we always have to go from here, from Angola to another country to be able to see. So we are anxious and hopeful that he is coming to Africa for us, so that way we can make it. The Pope's to us, because Africa's growing importance to the future of the Catholic Church, even as the region faces social and political challenges.
Jordan Hill Lewis has the top job in Cape Town, but his ambitions are already stretching beyond the city. The Democratic Alliance has chosen him to lead the party into the 2029 national elections, signalling a push to challenge the dominance of the African National Congress. Hill Lewis is positioning himself for a future role on the national stage.
Starting April 29.
Today, US forces blockade Iranian ports to the Strait of Hormuz, further threatening the world's oil supplies. Qantas suspends flights to regional centres, citing fuel costs as the Prime Minister flies to Brunei to shore up supply. A future coalition government would vet the social media history of all visa applicants. Rights groups have concerns.
For an immigration program to work in the national interest, it must discriminate based on values.
I was disappointed to see a continuation of dehumanisation of migrants, which is something that's happening at all levels of politics.
And the Duke and Duchess of Sussex kick off their Australian tour with a visit to the Royal Children's Hospital. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Rose Childs.
This is Asia Now.
Good afternoon. It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. Immigration and at this hour. U.S. President Donald Trump warns Iranian boats that approach the American naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz would be destroyed, as Tehran calls the move unlawful. But markets are focused on hopes of a diplomatic resolution after U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance opened the door to continued peace talks with Iran. And that's pushing Asia markets higher, with Japan and South Korea's equity benchmarks at 6-week highs. Singapore Central Bank tightens monetary policy and raises its inflation forecast amid the Middle East crisis. The government says first quarter growth remained resilient, but warns the outlook could weaken in the months ahead. We start with the war on Iran as the U.S. has began blocking the Strait of Hormuz after weekend peace talks with Iran ended without a deal. Iran has slammed the move, and reports say the Iranian ambassador to the United Nations wrote a letter to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres describing the blockade as a grave violation of sovereignty and territorial integrity. Earlier, Iran's military warned of a harsh response, setting the stage for a showdown along the world's most important oil artery. U.S. President Donald Trump says any attack on ships that attempt to end...
Good to be with you. I'm trying to couple the breaking news right now. I'm not a big fan of the president versus the Pope. Mr. Trump's harsh words and how the Pope is responding tonight after a 60 Minutes interview with 3 American cardinals and the controversial image the president deleted from his Truth Social today. Nora O'Donnell, who spoke to the president just moments ago, here with new exclusive reporting tonight. Also breaking moments ago, the congressman at the center of those allegations involving sexual assault has just resigned. The new investigation into Eric Swalwell and what he's saying tonight. An arrest in that firebombing attack on the home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. That picture Altman posted over the weekend and what he said. Plus a CBS News exclusive, the new clues in the search for that missing American woman in the Bahamas. What she said in text messages to a friend about her husband, now under arrest over her disappearance. And the famous Miami hotel demolished, and the messy aftermath. Also the good stuff caught on camera at an NBA game, what this arguing couple is saying about love tonight.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS News with Tony DeCopo.
Good evening.
breaking news tonight. Congressman Eric Swalwell resigning from the House amid a wave of allegations of sexual assault. The announcement late today that he'll leave Congress as multiple women come forward amid growing pressure from within his own party to step down. What we know about the criminal investigation now underway, the president versus the Pope, the war of words between the two leaders, and the controversy erupting over this AI image shared by President Trump, depicting him as a Christ-like figure, the president's surprising explanation for the image, and what Pope Leo told NBC News about the feud. Showdown at sea, the partial U.S. blockade now in place, what we're learning about who is allowed to pass through, and our new reporting on whether peace talks are back on with Iran. Tech CEO targeted. New images tonight, a suspect attacking OpenAI Sam Altman's home. And office, what we just learned about the suspect. The husband arrested after his wife went missing in the Bahamas, set to walk free unless police file charges tonight. Plus the text messages his wife sent before she vanished. A street turned into a runway while this small plane made a sudden emergency landing in the middle of Phoenix. Terrifying doorbell cam video of a man seen screaming and demanding entry to a house. How the scene ended in a violent struggle with the homeowner. Cruise ship death, the 16-year-old now charged in the death of his stepsister on a Carnival cruise ship. Plus, why this giant jet was flying so low over this small town, the investigation tonight. And there's good news how school bus after school bus showed up to give this 90
Liberté, égalité, actualité.
Hello and a very warm welcome to you. You're watching Daybreak here on France 24. These are the headlines. They would be the first direct talks between Israel and Lebanon since the 1980s. The aim is to find a framework for setting up peace talks, but Lebanon's militant group Hezbollah says it will not be bound by anything decided at that meeting. The wife of Spain's Prime Minister charged with corruption, Begoña Gomez, and her husband Pedro Sanchez deny the accusations, which include embezzlement and misappropriation of funds. 6 years in prison for his former CEO and a fine of €1 million for the company. A court in Paris finds French cement giant Lafarge guilty of financing jihadist groups in Syria during the war. Good to have you with us. Well, also coming up, we'll be looking at a law currently being debated by French lawmakers. The bill would make it easier for countries to get back artwork stolen by France during colonial times.
This is DW News, our top stories. US President Donald Trump says Iran wants to make a deal hours after an American blockade of the Strait of Hormuz took effect. Trump says the military will intercept vessels paying tolls to Iran and destroy mines laid in the waterway. It comes after weekend peace talks in Pakistan between US and Iranian officials ended without an agreement. Pope Leo says he will continue speaking out against the war in Iran. Talking to reporters ahead of his 10-day tour of Africa, the pontiff said he is not afraid of the Trump administration and that his criticism of the war is rooted in Christian teachings. His comments come after Trump lashed out at the Pope, calling him too liberal and weak on crime. Peter Magyar is promising to usher in a new era for
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil Farid. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.
The centre-right politician is vowing to tackle corruption and democratic backsliding in Hungary after securing a comfortable majority amid a record voter turnout.
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil Farid. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.